You are watching the very first official video of Vince by Submission. So this channel is going to be focused on all things MMA and really just combat sports in general, but mostly focused on UFC. But I might even cover things from, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, anything that comes up that I think is worthy of being covered. So I'll be doing everything from, upcoming events, breakdowns, predictions, recaps, news. I'll even deep dive various topics, like side topics that are related to MMA, whether I'm talking about like a certain title picture or what's going on with a certain fighter, or my opinions on, certain things like scoring criteria and all different kinds of things. I have so many ideas that I could get out there. I'm a big follower of a lot of MMA channels out there. So I feel like I wanted to put my voice into the mix. So here I am. Now, I've already been trying to do this for a number of months now. I've been running with a couple of guys an audio-only podcast. So we were uploading to YouTube, but it's just a picture of our logo. You don't actually see us. It's just straight audio. And whenever you do a podcast like that, it's really hard to build up an audience. So, if you don't have like financial backing, like a lot of money to push a lot of advertisements, if you don't have an established name already, if you're just some Joe Schmo like me, that gets with a couple of friends and starts recording yourselves and throwing them out there into the ether, it's really hard to get any kind of attention and get any kind of traction. So we've been doing it for, I don't even know how many months. We started, in the fall of last year, and, we're pulling single digit numbers on our downloads. Even though I'm week after week, I'm advertising like, in whatever free manner I can just by going to social media and mentioning our stuff, to try to get attention, word of mouth. I talk to friends, I go to the gym. If I find anyone that's interested in, MMA, I'll tell them about it. And I'm still, after 8 months or something, still pulling, less than 10 views an episode. It's kind of ridiculous. And then on top of that, we have a lot of schedule conflicts between me and the other people that are on the podcast. There's 2 other guys, so 3 of us total. And it's hard for us to all get on the same page when it comes to when we're all available. We also had a lot of creative differences, like different ideas of which direction the podcast should go. And all of it was just making it a struggle. It was just too much of a headache for too little reward. It wasn't like we're trying to get paid for it or anything like that. We're just trying to do it for fun. But at the very least, we wanted to get, some views. We wanted to get some numbers and have people involved with the conversation. We just weren't really getting anything. So I've decided I don't really want to go that route anymore. And I just want to go solo. Just do my own thing on YouTube. I follow a lot of channels where people do the same thing. And it's great conversations that people have. And a lot of times I want to get involved with the conversation, but I couldn't really do it on the very limited platform that I have. So here I am, Vince by Submission. If the name of the channel doesn't give it away, and if the sign behind me and the medals over here to the side don't give it away, I train jiu-jitsu. I'm just a blue belt, nothing spectacular. But I've been very passionate about submissions, like the submission game, the technical grappling aspect of it. I think I have a stronger appreciation for than most people do that are MMA fans. Most MMA fans are really just kickboxing fans. They just want to see people stand and bang, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love watching good stand-up wars. My favorite fight of all time is probably Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald 2, where I don't think there was a lick of grappling in that. So, but anyway, I practice jiu-jitsu. I compete in jiu-jitsu. I'll be competing next weekend, so I'll probably be covering that as well. My son trains kickboxing, and he's looking at getting into competing, so I'll be sure to cover that as well. So, this will be a fun channel where, myself and people close to me who are involved with the sport, I could put a highlight on them, and it could be a really fun time. And then I could also, big UFC events, step in, give my thoughts, give my predictions, get people involved in the conversation. I love doing that kind of stuff. I've been just between friends, nothing like too official online or anything like that, but just between friends, I've been doing predictions for, I don't know, 15, to 20 years. And I went a little period of time where I wasn't really following UFC. I kind of, just it kind of went through a lull where there was not really any exciting champions, and I actually stopped watching for a handful of years, and I got back into it, and I've been like just super obsessed with it the last few years. So, yeah. So I just really want to get into the conversation, get in the mix with all these other people. I want to get my piece out there. On my podcast, we recently covered predictions for UFC 328, the one that just happened between Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev. And I'm the only person on my podcast that picked Sean Strickland to win. That just made me feel really good. And I kind of wish I would have had a YouTube channel ahead of time so I could have got that opinion out there to a much bigger audience. But, instead, I got 4 views, and 2 of those views I think were us in the podcast. So, I sometimes say all these really cool and great things in the sport, and it's just wasted. So I don't want to waste it anymore. I want to get out there. So I want this channel to grow and become as big as it can be. I'm going to try to network out with, whatever YouTube MMA content creators out there are interested in my channel, people that I follow. I'm up for collaborating and just getting involved in the conversation, anything like that. I think it'd be a really fun time. So this is not my normal recording place. This is actually just my office at work, and I figured I would just try to throw out a little camera or throw out a little video real quick with my webcam to get something on the channel, to get a little bit of traction, get a little bit of attention to start off with. But I'm looking at trying to set up something at my home office with much better equipment. And yeah, it'll be a really fun time. So this weekend, you have the Netflix card with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano and a bunch of other people, former UFC fighters like Francis Ngannou, Junior Dos Santos. I was a big fan of Junior Dos Santos back in the day. And we also have an Apex card in the UFC between Arnold Allen and Melquizael Costa. That should be a pretty good fight. So I'll probably come in sometime next week where I'll be talking about how all that played out. And next weekend, there's going to be no UFC event. Most weekends, there is some type of UFC event, whether it's just some small fight night or a big pay-per-view or numbered event, as they're called now. Next weekend's one of the few weekends through the entire year that doesn't have an event, and that's the same weekend I will be competing in jiu-jitsu. So maybe I'll catch it on video, and maybe I'll post it, unless I look really bad in competition. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And I'll be talking about my experience. I might even talk about some of my previous experiences with competing in jiu-jitsu. Every one of these medals back here has a story behind them. Some good, some not so good. But yeah, it'll be a really fun time. So before I go, I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Blaine Henry. If you like MMA content and you want to support smaller channels, he's not like small, but he's not like huge like, MMA on Point or something like that. But if you want to support the little guy, go check out Blaine Henry's Fight Library, or it might be Blaine Henry's The Fight Library. That's a friend of mine that I actually trained jiu-jitsu with, and we'd actually trained together for a while, and I had no idea he was even doing a YouTube channel. And whenever I started making the content for the podcast and I was advertising the podcast on Facebook, he hits me up like, "Oh, I'll follow your channel if you follow mine on YouTube." And I'm like, "I didn't know you had a YouTube channel." And he actually does really good content. And like I said, this is a buddy of mine that I train with. So definitely check out his channel. He's awesome. There's a lot of other channels. If I want to give a shout out to all the channels that I like to follow, I'd be here forever, and I don't have that kind of time. So I just want to get a little something out there to introduce myself and try to start working my way into this conversation. So if you like what you see, tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I already have one follower, my boy Helix MMA, who's an OG follower of me. When I say OG, it's like, all of a handful of months ago when I started pushing my podcast to YouTube. He was my first subscriber on YouTube to the podcast. Now I'm a first subscriber to this YouTube channel. So thank you for that. So yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And I want this to be an interactive channel as well. Like I see with all these other channels where you know, people comment and there's a lot of like back and forth, a lot of talk. I want this to be a discussion. I'm not just here to like throw out my opinion because it means so much to the world and it's going to change the world. I like to have these conversations with lots of people. I'm going to throw out my opinions. Comment, your thoughts on anything. I'm such a small channel that it'll be easy for me to comb through every comment and respond to you, and I think it'll be really fun. So subscribe if you're into this kind of material, and I'll be sure to put out regular content. I don't know how often I'm going to do it. Once a week, a couple times a week. I guess it depends on how much is going on in the world of MMA, in the world of UFC in particular. This channel will be mostly UFC. I'll just be very transparent on that fact right there, because that's the main thing that I follow. But I might cover other things as well. I am subscribed to Bare Knuckle Boxing. Sometimes it's kind of a shit show, but sometimes it's fun as well. Any big boxing events that come up, I might even look into following some more like kickboxing and stuff like that, ONE FC, anything like that. I was even debating on UFC BJJ, but that just doesn't seem as exciting. Which is weird to say coming from me as someone who's a diehard jiu-jitsu fan, but I don't know, the format's kind of weird, and when you get like super high level no-gi jiu-jitsu, it's all whoever can pull guard first and grab an ankle first and get in the heel hook. It's mostly that. I like a deeper level of jiu-jitsu that you see on a more like broad range, and when you get into that style of jiu-jitsu competition, you don't quite see the same level of versatility. So I don't know if I'm gonna cover that or not. If the events start getting really exciting, we see a lot more different type of competitors with a lot of different styles, and it does start to get more traction, then maybe I'll cover that as well. We shall see. Whatever the MMA, whatever the combat sports world wants to throw at me that looks fun and exciting, I'll be sure to cover it. And if you guys want me to look into something and cover something, let me know. So anyway, my name is Vince. This is Vince by Submission. Hopefully next weekend, that's exactly what it's going to be. Vince by Submission, and I get to add another gold medal to that rack. So tune in. Keep your eye on this channel. I'll be putting out some more content pretty soon, especially next week. I'll be talking about my competition, and yeah, it'll be a fun time. So thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff that all the content creators say. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all later.